Flavors of Science. Kikilitiin namin ang inyong pag-iisip, pati na rin ang inyong panlasa sa mga kaalaman tungkol sa siyensya sa likod ng produksyon ng pagkain. Ibabahagi namin ito sa aming official Facebook at Instagram pages, pati na rin sa aming YouTube channel. Mag-like, follow at subscribe na sa DOST PCAARRD.
The Philippines is one of the world's mega-diverse countries, rich in natural resources and biological diversity. The very reason why agriculture, marine and aquatic, and natural resources are foreseen as key sectors in achieving sustainable and inclusive development in the country. With the right policies and programs in place, backed with appropriate technologies and innovations, attaining development is not far from reach. This is where the Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic and Natural Resources Research and Development, or PCAARRD, takes its ground. PCAARRD was established in 2011 through the merging of two sectoral councils under the Department of Science and Technology: the Philippine Council for Agriculture, Forestry and Natural Resources Research and Development, and the Philippine Council for Aquatic and Marine Research and Development. Consolidating these two organizations into one apex council broadened its coverage, as well as provided a unified and holistic approach in addressing concerns in the agriculture, aquatic, and natural resources, or AANR sector. The Council aims to provide strategic leadership in promoting science and technology, or S&T, as a platform for AANR products innovation and environmental resiliency. Committed to sustaining dynamic leadership in S&T innovation in the AANR sector, PCAARRD formulates policies, plans, projects, and strategies for S&T development in the AANR sector. It programs and allocates government and external funds generated for research and development, or R&D efforts, as well as monitors R&D projects. It also generates external funds for R&D activities. PCAARRD carries out programs and advocacies according to 4 banner programs that embody its S&T interventions in the AANR sector. These are Strategic R&D, R&D Results Utilization, Policy Research and Advocacy, and Capability Building and R&D Governance. The Council builds partnerships with local and international organizations for joint R&D, training, technical assistance, and information and technology exchange. It also ties up with funding institutions to support its programs and advocacies. Through the years, PCAARRD has been a lead organization in managing the network of government and higher education institutions involved in the AANR sector. Guided by its core values of relevance, excellence, and cooperation, PCAARRD catalyzes development through advancing S&T in the AANR sector. It is steadfast in its commitment to its mandates for the betterment of the lives of every Filipino, now and in the generations to come.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the webinar on Enhanced Production and Management Practices for Potato. I am Danica Sembrano, your host from the Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic and Natural Resources Research and Development of the Department of Science and Technology or DOST PCAARRD. Isa ang patatas sa mga gulay na talagang paborito ng mga Pilipino. Dahil bukod sa sustansya na taglay nito, marami din itong gamit bilang pagkain, feeds, wine at iba pa. Subalit sa mga kinahaharap na problema sa pagtatanim ng patatas tulad ng mga sakit at peste, ano nga ba ang mga paraan kung paano natin mas mapapataas ang produksyon nito? Iyan ang tatalakayin sa atin ngayon hapon ng ating mga eksperto mula sa Potato Research and Development Center na pinangungunahan ng Benguet State University. Pero bago ang lahat, nais ko munang batiin ang lahat ng ating mga kasama ngayon, lalo na sa ating mga entrepreneurs, researchers, magsasaka at iba pang mga stakeholders sa industriya ng patatas. Gayun din naman, may mga kasama rin tayo mula sa state universities and colleges, local universities and colleges, private universities, at secondary schools na matatagpuan sa iba't ibang parte ng bansa. Right now, we are joined by 135 live viewers at the DOST PCAARRD Facebook page. Patuloy niyo sanang i-like at i-share ang live stream na ito, lalo na sa mga kakilala ninyo na interesado at nais pang matuto tungkol sa produksyon ng patatas. Batiin din natin ang ating mga viewers sa comment section. Good afternoon po sa inyong lahat. Alright, I hope that you can keep the same energy, especially later when we will have our open forum where you can send in your questions to our speakers. And now to formally start this webinar, let us call on the Executive Director of DOST PCAARRD for his welcome remarks, Dr. Reynaldo V. Ebora.
A pleasant afternoon to our resource speakers, organizers, and participants watching from different parts of the country. I am honored to welcome all of you to our webinar titled Enhanced Production and Management Practices for Potato. This webinar aims to showcase the results of years of hard work of our researchers on potato and inform our stakeholders of the recent technologies that they can employ to increase their productivity and income. Today's webinar features the accomplishments of the ongoing 3-year program titled Accelerated R&D Program for Capacity Building of Research and Development Institutions and Industrial Competitiveness, Niche Centers in the Regions for Research and Development, or NICER, Potato R&D Center. Implemented by the Benguet State University, this NICER program, launched by the Department of Science and Technology and monitored by PCAARRD, aims to enhance the quality seed production system through application of advanced S&T interventions. It aims to boost the potato industry in the country while developing R&D capabilities and improving regional research in the Cordillera Administrative Region, which is the major producer of potato in the Philippines. Potato, also known as patatas, is the fourth most important food crop in the world after rice, wheat, and corn in terms of human consumption. More than 1 billion people worldwide eat potato, and the total global crop production exceeds 300 million metric tons. Mainly grown for its tubers, it is rich in phosphorus, vitamins B1, B2, and C, and an excellent low-fat source of carbohydrates. In the Philippines, the major potato production is concentrated in high elevations, particularly in Benguet and Mountain Province in CAR, contributing approximately 83% of the total potato output in 2020. It is the banner commodity in the Cordillera region and an important source of income and livelihood. However, the local production has decreased over the years. This was brought about by decreasing farm productivity and area planted. The production cannot meet the rising demand beset by major challenges such as the lack of certified seeds and quality planting materials, as well as the increasing incidence of pests and diseases. To address these industry problems, we crafted the Industry Strategic S&T program for vegetables. In line with this initiative, the Potato R&D Center will focus on the development of an integrated crop management or ICM system, enhancement of the micropropagation system, and improvement of aeroponics and storage techniques for production of potato foundation seeds. Overall, the Potato R&D Center highlights the importance of using clean potato seeds to increase the productivity and income of farmers. Director Cynthia Kiswa of the Northern Philippines Root Crops Research and Training Center of BSU serves as the program leader of the Potato NICER. One of the component projects of the program is the Enhancing the Micropropagation System of Potato, which aims to increase the production efficiency of true-to-type and disease-free varieties. It also reintroduces prepared or adapted varieties for feasible production and improves the existing microtuber production technique for sustainable supply of quality planting materials. Another project titled Development of Insect Pests and Disease Management of Quality Seed Production with Professor Jocelyn Perez as the project leader aims to develop management strategies and detection techniques of insect pests and diseases affecting the production of seed potato. This project also improves the ICM system for seed potato to help the farmers in managing major pests and diseases and mitigate yield and economic losses. In closing, I would also like to commend the project teams for delivering outstanding outputs and our very own Crops Research Division led by Dr. Alan Siano for hosting this activity. I hope that our participants for this webinar will find the discussion engaging and relevant. I also hope that you will keep on supporting our activities such as this and rest assured that DOST PCAARRD will continue to deliver more S&T innovations for the benefit of our fellow Filipinos in the agriculture, aquatic, and natural resources sector. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon pong muli sa ating lahat.
Ayan, thank you, Dr. Ebora, for welcoming our attendees today and for sharing the rationale of this activity. Ngayon naman, simulan na natin na ipakilala ang ating unang eksperto. Our first resource speaker is currently serving as the Director of the Northern Philippines Root Crops Research and Training Center. She is the Program Leader of the Potato Research and Development Center under DOST's Niche Center for Research and Development or NICER program. Here to talk about enhanced micropropagation practices, ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker, Director Cynthia G. Kiswa. Ayan. Magandang hapon po, ma'am.
Magandang hapon po sa lahat.
Ayan. Kamusta
Hello.
naman po kayo, ma'am Cynthia?
Mabuti naman, at least maganda na ang weather namin ngayon.
Ayun, buti naman po, ma'am. Ma'am, para po sa kaalaman ng ating mga viewers, maaari niyo po bang i-share sa amin ng kaunti kung ano po ba yung micropropagation?
Okay, thank you, Dan. Ang micropropagation, or in other words, a plant tissue culture, ito ay isang pamaraan ng paggawa o pag-alis ng systemic diseases or viral diseases ng tanim na kung minsan hindi kayang i-control ng chemical sprays. At pagkatapos i-clean up sa sakit ng tanim, ay padadamihin sa loob din ng tissue culture laboratory upang maipadami ang tinatawag na mataas na kalidad ng planting materials upang mapataas din ang ani ng mga potato farmers. At sa aking lecture mamaya, malalaman pa natin ang iba pang kahulugan ng micropropagation at kahalagahan ng potato micropropagation. Thank you, Dan.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Ma'am Cynthia, for sharing that with us. Ano? I'm sure mas na-excite yung mga viewers natin na matuto ng iba pang advantages nitong micropropagation na ibabahagi niyo po sa amin ngayong hapon. So, go ahead, Ma'am Cynthia. Take it away.
Pleasant afternoon, everyone. Yours truly, Cynthia Kiswa, presenting the result of our research, Enhancing Micropropagation System of Potato. But before that, I would like to thank the PCAARRD for coming up with this webinar forum for us to share S&T intervention on the management practices on the production of quality seed potato and accomplishments that we have with the ongoing program on potato R&D under the niche centers in the region for R&D or NICER, which is one of the programs of the OSD. The Potato R&D program is in collaboration with the Bureau of Plant Industry of CAR, potato growing municipalities or LGUs of Benguet and Mountain Province, and 5 potato farmer organizations. The findings in this program is not only applicable to CAR, but to all potato growing areas in the country. This is the order of the presentation of my topic today. The Philippine potato production statistics, major problem in potato production and its solution, principles of micropropagation, microtuberization process for seed production, S&T hydroponic seed potato cultivation, economic importance of quality seeds in potato farming, and the standard potato seed production system. To start with, potato ranks fourth important crop in terms of crop production and ranks third in terms of food utilization in the world. This is according to Food Agricultural Organization. Philippines ranked 99th potato producer from 155 countries with share of 0.4% to the world potato production. Potato is also potential to alleviate the problems on nutrition, since potato is fat-free and rich in vitamin C, potassium, and antioxidant, and it is highly recognized by the FAO as a food security because it produces more food per unit area and time as compared to most staple food like cereal crops. It is also easily grown in the backyard, home garden, or school garden, and urban garden. In terms of economic contribution, in the Philippines, it generates employment of about 130,000 farmers engaged in potato production. It contributes an estimated gross domestic product of 3.4 billion from fresh production alone, and not discounting its contribution to processing and trade of inputs. And 83% of this economy contribution comes from CAR. It has also a diverse utilization, and the most favorite snack food from potato are fries and chips. In the country, the major potato growing regions are the Cordillera Administrative Region, which produces 83% of the local potato supply, and Northern Mindanao and Davao produces combined production of 16%. Benguet is the main province that produces potato of about 75% of the total volume produced. Hence, Benguet State University of Benguet Province leads the potato R&D program. As to demand, it was reported in 2017 that the country demand is about 380,333 metric tons, and 31.98% of this is from the local produce, while the rest is imported. From the local produce, 83% are for table and 17% goes to the processing companies. The limited supply of certified disease-free planting materials is one of the reasons of limited supply of locally produced potatoes, most especially now that the effect of climate change and emerging disease is noticeable. The potato farming needs accessibility to disease-free planting materials to cope up with these problems. The Benguet province alone has an estimated of seed demand of about 15,718 metric tons, and in 2020, the project started to produce 15% yearly of certified disease-free planting materials. Thus, the Potato R&D program wants to share how we are enhancing the production of certified disease-free planting materials through micropropagation method in the tissue culture laboratory, apical cutting propagation from the tissue cultured plants that is done in the greenhouse, and then the seed tuber production technique on the farmer's field. This is the overview of what to be presented from the tissue culture laboratory to the greenhouse up to seed farm production to ware potato production. Moving on, let us now talk about the principle of micropropagation. Micropropagation is a technique of vegetatively propagating plants in a strict sanitation in order to produce the initial disease-free plants where microtubers or apical cuttings or seed tubers evolves. Why micropropagation? Micropropagation is a reliable method to initially produce disease-free planting materials, the only method to eliminate the systemic pests that cannot be controlled by chemicals like viruses, bacterial wilt, and also potato cyst nematode. It propagates varieties without changing its genetic identity. Micropropagation also has a high multiplication rate in a shorter period of time. It is also a safe method to stock disease-free planting materials, making it available the whole year round. But how do we produce disease-free microplants? We usually use the meristem part of the plant to come up with the very first disease-free plants. Meristems are extracted from the sprouts or from fully grown potato plants. However, the survival of meristem is generally low with less than 50% at the most. The meristem are also fully grows after 2 to 3 months before the first subculture will be done. Thus, we are working to another method of regeneration. This is the use of thermotherapy growth chamber. This equipment or method is the method of producing disease-free plants, wherein we grow a sprout or a whole plant or a tissue cultured plant inside the chamber at 32 to 37 degrees centigrade for a period of at least 1 month to get rid of the diseases. After a month, these explants are tested from virus using double antibody sandwich enzyme link immunoserbent assay or DAS ELISA to guarantee if these are virus-free. Explants that were indexed negative to virus will be used as propagules wherein the shoot tips are severed from the sprouts or plants. This is resulted to higher percentage of survival and faster growth than using the meristem tissue. Now, how do we do indexing? The project uses DAS ELISA kit to index the major viruses and bacterial wilt in potato. In the reading of results, if the wells filled with plant subs manifested a yellow color, this means that the plant is positive with virus or bacterial wilt. But if it is colorless, it indicates that your explant or planting material is negative from diseases. And how often do we index? In the tissue culture lab, the propagules are indexed once, but the mother plants in the greenhouse are indexed once a month to warranty the maintenance of disease-free planting materials and also to pass the seed certification by the BPI. So after the production of Mary plants and indexing of propagules, these are now ready for mass micropropagation. The average multiplication rate per microplant is 5 times in amount, so that in 3 months period, numerous number of microplants are produced. The microplants are brought to the greenhouse as mother plant or to be used as material for microtuber production in the tissue culture laboratory. What is microtuber production all about? Microtuberization is another method of propagating planting materials. Microtuberization is the production of tubers from the tissue cultured plants. Because of tuberization media, Tubers are induced to grow in the nodes of the stem. The benefits of microtubers as seeds are easy to grow, easy to store, easy to transport, and it does not require acclimatization before planting. Once it is sprouted, it can be directly planted in the soil. And this is the sequence on how microtubers are produced. From 1-month-old tissue culture plants grown in MS solid media, these are again micropropagated in MS liquid media for another month before it will be irrigated with microtuberization media to induce tuber growth. Then incubate in dark place or cabinet until the tubers are matured. Tubers are ready for harvest after 1.5 to 2.5 months, depending on the variety. And the factors affecting the efficiency of microtuber production are the following. Percent sugar content of the media. The project observed that 8% sugar produces bigger sized tubers from less than 8% sugar. As to age of transplant, 30 days old tissue culture plants initiate tuberization earlier at 14 days from irrigation of microtuberization. And 2 weeks old microplant tuberization growth shows only after 30 days from irrigation of tuberization media. Temperature during the incubation period is also important. The ideal temperature requirement for tuberization is 15 to 22 degrees centigrade. In our case, the temperature of the tissue culture laboratory where this research was conducted ranges from 18 to 24 degrees centigrade without using an air conditioner, which is within the temperature requirement for microtuber production. Potato varieties also differs in microtuber production. The microtubers produced range from 1 to 2 pieces per plant, weighing from a range of 0.7 to 3 grams per microtuber. Plant density per vessel also influenced the sizes of microtubers. High density could lead to small microtubers, whereas low density results to bigger size microtubers. The recommended plant density if you are using test tube is at least 3 tissue culture plants, while mayonnaise bottle or ordinary flask vessel, the plant density is about 15 tissue culture plants. As to dormancy period of microtubers, it ranges from 17 to 30 days under diffuse light storage, and the maturity of microtubers planted under greenhouse is similar to the normal maturity period of the tubers raised from conventional method of production. Early maturing varieties like Fina, Granula, and Cosima varieties matured earlier at 80 to 90 days after planting, with tuber yield from 5 to 11 pieces of tuber, weighing 0.15 kilograms to 0.25 kilograms per plant, while varieties Igorota, Bengueta, and Ranyag, it matures at 100 to 110 days after planting with an average yield of 8 pieces that weighs 0.26 kilograms per tuber. This is the sample view of a 2 grams microtuber planted under greenhouse. It can produce these sizes about 10 to 32 grams per tuber after 66 days. We also tried another technology of propagating quality planting materials of potato. This is about hydroponic seed potato cultivation through aeroponics and hydroponic drip irrigation system. The project aligns with the House Bill number 1812 authored by Diosdado and Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, which aims to promote the use of aeroponic technology to be applied in agricultural production of high value-added crops like potato to address the country's food security concerns and sensibly utilize limited fertile land resources. So why did they come up with this bill on hydroponics? Because hydroponic practitioners in the world claims that hydroponic crops uses 90% less water than traditional soil farming. You can also utilize the space many times for crop production because crops grow faster in hydroponics, unlike traditional farming. Plants can be grown in a soilless medium, thus you get rid of soil-borne diseases. No herbicide or minimal pesticides are used. All these facts makes hydroponics environmental friendly method of cultivating plants. So let's see how this hydroponic works in sweet potato production. The potato R&D program ventured on two types of hydroponic from several types of hydroponics. The first one is the hydroponic drip irrigation, and in drip irrigation, the growing media used was carbonated rice hull ash plus alnus compost at 3:1 ratio. Drip irrigation uses emitters or dripper to trickle the nutrient solution and water directly to the base of the plants through pump controlled by water timer regulator. So instead of overhead irrigation to the plants, the emitters secrete the liquid in a slow dripping action, which uses 90% less water from the conventional method. In drip irrigation, we use the rooted apical cuttings as planting material that were planted at a distance of 25 centimeters between plants. The picture on the right are the samples of harvested tubers at this distance. The other type of hydroponic cultivation is the aeroponic that we tried in the project. It addresses the problems on soil, water, and energy availability. It is a method of cultivating plants with its roots hanging mid-air underneath the seedbed panel board. Water-based nutrient solution is distributed to the roots via pre-programmed hydro-atomizer. In harvesting, it is done by opening the window at the side of the seedbed and pick the tubers with at least 10 grams per piece. The size is a little bit bigger than marble size. The rooted apical cutting on the left side was the planting material used that were planted at a distance also of 25 centimeters between plants. And the picture on the right side is the vegetative stage at 21 days from transplanting. In aeroponic, tuber initiation was observed at 14 days after planting for early maturing varieties, while late maturing varieties was observed to initiate tubers at 30 days after planting. This is the overview of the aeroponic seed tubers at 1.5 months that is growing beneath the seedbed panel board. The frequency of irrigation during the first 20 days growth of potato is 15 seconds every 2 minutes due to less roots develop. And after 20 days growth until maturity, the duration of the on and off misting is longer at 30 seconds every 5 minutes due to several root hairs grown that holds the droplets. The duration of fertigation is regulated by the timer, and the water in the bladder tank is regulated by the power pump to the hydro-atomization nozzle that meets the roots of the plants under the dark seedbed panel board. In our aeroponic nutrient solution experiment, we now have 2 nutrient solutions that were preliminarily selected from 3 nutrient solution treatment we studied earlier, which are still undergoing verification trial. These nutrient solutions are composed of macronutrients and micronutrients necessary for the vegetative growth and tuber yield. The electrical conductivity or EC and pH of the nutrient solution is adjusted until the recommended EC and pH is reached for efficient absorption of nutrients to the plant root system. The electrical conductivity value determines how much nutrients in a solution, which is measured by EC meter. EC requirement of most plants is between 1.2 to 1.6 millisiemens during the vegetative stage and 1.6 to 2.4 during the flowering production stage. Why is it important to adjust the EC? If the EC is too low, this is adjusted by dipping the EC meter and add water gradually to the reservoir tank while somebody is stirring the solution until you reach the recommended EC. If the EC is too high, add the prepared nutrient solution to the reservoir until the recommended EC is reached. To adjust the pH, use acetic acid at 5 ml per gallon of water to reduce the pH. But to increase the pH, use 5 grams baking soda per gallon of water. If the EC is too low, the growth abnormalities shows in the plants like a yellowing of the leaves, browning spots, necrosis to the leaves, stunted growth, or twisted leaves. But if the EC is also high, the following abnormalities like browning of the leaves, thickened roots, wilting of the plants, burnt leaf edges, and bent leaf tips, curling of leaves also, dull appearance of the leaves, and slow growth. These abnormalities leads to susceptibility of the plants to pests and to environmental condition. Thus, nutrients should be adjusted or corrected. During the first trial, a total number of 18,925 tubers were harvested from all the varieties in drip irrigation. In the aeroponics, harvested tubers was low due to early death of the plants caused by 2 power interruptions during the night at the early vegetative stage of the plants. Despite of this, the total yield is similar to the conventional tuber seed production. The conventional seed cultivation produced a total of 5,844 pieces tubers. The harvested seed tubers can be stored in the cold seed storage at 4 degrees centigrade to delay dormancy period, or at a higher temperature to hasten dormancy. 1 to 2 months before the tubers are planted in the field, move these tubers to the diffuse light storage for acclimatization to allow the sprouts to grow sturdy before planting in the field. There are limitations encountered in hydroponics cultivation, but there are solutions to these problems, like a high initial cost of hydroponics and optimizing production in the hydroponic greenhouse can compensate the high cost of aeroponic production. Aeroponics is also highly technical. If you intend to do hydroponics, then you must acquire knowledge through hands-on training. Another problem which is sometimes encountered is the waterborne diseases. In here, you need strict sanitation. Test the water before using if you are not sure of the source of the water. EC and pH meter are also important because if these are not checked, nutrients will be imbalanced that causes the plants to become weak and easily infected by diseases. To continue on the limitations, the power interruption or brownout is also a problem. Hydroponic is electric energy dependent, thus power generator is a must. Don't start hydroponic cultivation if you don't have a standby generator, because even after 30 minutes, if aeroponic plants is not misted, the plant growth will be disturbed and sometimes it will not survive. And to lower the unit cost of these seed tubers also, optimizing the seed tuber production should be done through appropriate nutrition, irrigation, and temperature. And this figure, it illustrates how significant certified planting materials in potato farming. A techno demo with 30 farmers in Benguet and 30 farmers in Mountain Province showed that tissue culture derived seed tubers had increased yield from a range of 25 to 42 tons per hectare from usual yield of 15 tons per hectare using old seeds as shown in the graph. The yield is more than doubled. Same is true to the profit, which had increased ranging from 66 to 180%, with an equivalent piso value of 66,000 to 168,000 per 2,000 square meter farm. or average or 2,000 square meter average land holdings. This is the unit cost production of the different planting materials. The quality seed tuber produced locally shows that it is much cheaper at 45 to 80 pesos per kilogram, as shown in the suggested selling price, comparing it to the imported seed tubers, which is being sold at 110 to 150 pesos per kilogram. In this data, it shows the progress of seed produced and dispersed for the last 3 years. The increase in seed production was due to the SNT innovation enhancement and upgrading of facilities of the laboratories, greenhouses, and seed farms. In summary, to what was presented, the seed potato production process for the production of certified planting materials always starts in the tissue culture laboratory before it goes to the greenhouse for the production of basic planting materials, then to the accredited farms or farmers for further production of foundations or certified planting materials before it goes to the bare potato producers. Finally, we would like to thank all those who attended our webinar on the enhanced production and management for potato. Thank you from the Potato R&D program team and staff. Thank you po.
Ayan, maraming salamat Ma'am Cynthia for that really interesting presentation on enhanced micropropagation practices. Now, we know na mayroon pa palang ibang paraan upang makapag-produce ng clean planting materials kung saan maaring maiwasan ang mga peste at sakit ng patatas. At bukod pa doon, very interesting din ang seed tubers mula sa hydroponics technology dahil bukod sa disease-free ang mga ito, mas mura ito kumpara sa imported seeds at mas mapapataas nito ang ani ng mga farmers. So unang speaker pa lang natin yan, pero alam kong marami na kayong mga katanungan at sasagutin natin mamaya iyan sa ating open forum. Ngayon naman, let us proceed to our next speaker. Our second speaker is an expert in crop protection and plant pathology. She is currently the Deputy Director of the Cordillera Consortium for Agriculture, Aquatic, Natural Resources Research and Development, or CORCARD, and a professor in the Benguet State University, the project leader of the development of pest and disease management of quality seed production. Let us all welcome Professor Jocelyn C. Perez. Good afternoon, Ma'am Josie.
Ay, good afternoon, Dan. Good
Ready na
afternoon
po
din
ba
sa
kayo,
lahat
ma'am,
ng...
for your
Yes po.
presentation?
Good afternoon. I am Jocelyn.
Yes po.
Ayan. Okay, ma'am. Napakahalaga rin po nung topic na ibabahagi niyo sa amin today, lalo na po sa ating mga farmers. Ano, ma'am? Ma'am,
Yes.
pwede niyo po ba kaming bigyan ng konting preview kung ano po ba yung mga major pests and diseases ng potato farmers sa ngayon?
Okay. Marami po ang mga sakit at peste ng patatas. So, it is actually infected by about 50 diseases at saka mga 150 insect pests. Pero sa atin po, potatoes are infected by a whole lot of microorganisms. Meron tayong virus, fungi, bacteria, nematodes, kasama din yung mga insekto tulad ng aphids, thrips, whiteflies, leaf miner, tuber moth sa farm, at saka yung mealybugs at tuber moth din sa storage.
Okay, ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am. Na-excite din kami, no? Lalo na yung mga viewers natin, kung paano nga ba masusolusyonan yung mga pests and diseases na yan. Kasi I feel na yan talaga yung mga problema talaga sa ngayon ng mga farmers natin. So, I think we're ready for your presentation, ma'am. Take it away, Ma'am Josie.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Jocelyn Perez, it is our pleasure to present our project that focuses on the integrated crop management recommendations for major potato pests and diseases under the NICER Potato Program. My presentation will include the potato production cost, major potato pest, integrated crop management for potato pest, potato seed certification standards, survey and mapping initiatives, potato quarantine diseases and management, focusing on bacterial wilt, potato cyst nematode, other important diseases like late blight and powdery scab, potato insect pest management, the summary of ICM recommendations, other activities like field trials and extension activities, and our future R&D plan. To start with, the Cordillera Administrative Region, particularly the provinces of Benguet and Mountain Province, are consistently the major potato producing provinces in the Philippines due to its favorable climatic conditions and elevation. However, the potato is susceptible to a large number of insect pests and diseases, which reduce the production and quality on an average loss of 42%. To manage these pests, at least 17% of the production costs, amounting to 35,088 pesos, out of the total production cost per hectare per cropping of 206,400 pesos is spent on the use of pesticides, particularly insecticide, fungicide, and herbicides. In the cost of pesticides, 55% is used for insecticide, 22% is for fungicide, and 16% is for herbicide. Meanwhile, the seed accounts for 30% of all production inputs. The quality of seed usually defines a yield. So it is therefore very important that seeds that are used by our farmers is of utmost quality. If seeds are of poor quality mainly due to pests and diseases, crop losses tend to be high. Due to the effect of these pests on seeds and the effect of the existing control measures on our environment, it is imperative to develop an integrated management system that will not only effectively reduce the buildup of pests, but also are environment friendly. In the production of potato, the vegetative planting materials or the tubers are used, which are usually prone to the infection of diseases and the infestation of insect pests, which greatly affects the quality of the seeds. The potato is susceptible to at least 75 diseases and non-parasitic disorders, and about 150 insects depending on the region and the location. In the highlands, potatoes are infected by the following diseases. For potato viruses, we have PBY, potato virus Y, potato virus X, potato leaf roll virus. For bacteria, we have bacterial wilt and blackleg. For fungi, we have late blight, we have the dry rot, and we have powdery scab. And for nematodes, we have the potato cyst nematode and the root knot nematode. Insect pests includes aphids, leaf miner, white flies, thrips, tuber moth in the field. And in the storage, our potatoes are infested with mealybugs and tuber moth as well. In the development of an integrated crop management system for major insect pests and diseases, the system is anchored on the use of clean planting materials. Other component strategies include the use of soil amendments, resistant or tolerant varieties, microbial antagonists, cultural management, which includes sanitation, planting date, crop rotation, among others, and chemical control. Efforts on the development of control strategies, however, was concentrated on two important quarantine diseases, namely bacterial wilt and potato cyst nematodes. Other initiatives include the management of potato late blight and powdery scab, which is an emerging disease in the Philippines. To ensure the quality of seed potato, The field standards have been set by the Bureau of Plant Industry, the National Seed Quality Control Service, or the BPI and SQCS. Since the NPRCRTC has gained its accreditation as a potato seed producer by the same agency, the center follows the formal or the standardized seed system. As such, the project has concentrated on the management of quarantine pests. In the field standards for potato seed certification, diseases of concern include: one is the potato cyst nematode, where the maximum allowable or permitted percentage is 0 for all seed classes from basic, foundation, certified 1, and certified 2 seeds. For bacterial wilt, maximum allowable or permitted percentage is 0 for basic and foundation seeds. With the difficulty of identifying farms with 0 bacterial wilt, the VPI and SQCS has accepted 5 colony farming units per 10 grams of soil for certified 1 and 10 colony farming units per 10 grams of soil for certified 2 seeds. The basic seeds are usually produced on station in greenhouses. These materials are planted in the field for bulking or multiplication. To maintain its quality, farmers must be free of soil-borne pathogens. To comply with the field standards for seed certification, the project has continued to survey and map potato farms in search for areas with 0 PCN and 0 bacterial wilt for foundation seed production, and 5 to 10 colony forming units per 10 grams of soil for bacterial wilt, and still 0 PCN for certified 1 and certified 2 seed production. The process of collecting and testing the soil samples are shown in the slide. In the project, an increase of composite sampling by 300% was done to increase the accuracy of results of PCN and BW population. The survey and mapping of BW and PCN has been a continuing activity since 1995. Survey was conducted in 1995 to 1997, from 2000 to 2002, and last in 2015 with the BPI BNCRDC. The spread of BW and PCN, however, was noted. The spread of both diseases was brought about by the exchange of seeds by farmers or through the informal seed system. In this system, seeds move from one farm to another without benefit of certification. In the project, survey and mapping was done, particularly in areas known to be sources of seed, like the municipalities of Ato. We have Bacon, Bugyas, Mangkayan, Kibungan, and Kabayan. The project was able to survey 31.1 hectares, where 11.1 or 0.2 hectares are suitable for seed production. Of the 11.2 hectares, only 1.69 hectares is absolutely clean of bacterial wilt and PCN, which is ideal for foundation seed. The 9.51 hectares, however, have 0% PCN but have a tolerable population of BW, which is recommended for certified 1 and certified 2 seed production. In the maps that are shown, areas that are shaded in red are areas that are infected with high population of PCN and BW, while areas that are shaded in yellow are areas with tolerable levels of bacterial wilt and 0% of PCN. These yellow areas are targeted for cleanup by the project. Bacterial wilt is one of the most important diseases that affects the production and quality of seed. This disease has been detected in most of the surveyed potato growing area. In rare potato production, it is the second most important disease of potato next to late blight. It infects about more than 330 plant families. It can survive in the soil for at least 2 to 3 years. Severe infection could result to about 100% crop loss. The spread is difficult to control or contain because the most common means of movement and dispersal is through infected seeds and other propagating material. It can also be spread through irrigation water, through tools, and alternate with holes like galinsoga, which is usually abundant in the potato fields. We have been working on the management of bacterial wilt since 1990. In the management of the disease, our first line of defense is the use of clean or quality seed materials, which causes the gradual reduction of the bacterial wilt population. With clean seeds is the use of tolerant or resistant varieties. However, up to the present, no variety, clone, or advanced cultivars have been found to be resistant to bacterial wilt. However, our insect-approved varieties like Solibao and Igorota were found to be moderately tolerant to bacterial wilt. The application of soil amendments is also recommended. Any practice which stimulates the microbial activity will hasten the destruction of the pathogen's habitat and reduce its possibilities of surviving in the absence of a suitable host. This includes the use of organic fertilizers, the use of lime, urea, and the combination of lime and urea, which results to the release of bactericidal ammonium that affects the population of Ralstonia solanacearum. To effectively reduce the population of bacterial wilt, the application of lime at a rate of 16 to 20 tons calcium oxide per hectare, urea at 20 to 40 kilograms nitrogen per hectare, lime and urea at 16 to 20 tons calcium oxide per hectare plus 20 to 40 kilograms nitrogen per hectare is recommended. Further, the application of a stable bleaching powder or calcium hypochlorite at a rate of 12 kilograms per hectare was found to reduce incidence of bacterial wilt by 80%. The applications of this amendment, however, should be done 1 week before planting so that it could reduce the population of bacterial wilt. For cultural practices like sanitation, especially in the proper disposal of infected plant parts, this can be done by burning or burying infected plant or plant parts, by roguing of infected plants. However, in the roguing of infected plants, roguing should be done by removing the infected plant and the plants around it so that the bacterial wilt infection will not spread. Crop rotation also with non-host like cabbage, corn, carrots, and legumes can be done. It should be noted that the longer the rotation with other crops, the more effective is it in the reduction of bacterial wilt population. Aside from cultural practices, biological control using antagonists is also recommended. Antagonists are microorganisms with potential to interfere with the growth or survival of plant pathogens and thereby contribute to control. These organisms may either be introduced or indigenous. Effective BCAs that were evaluated include Trichoderma coningi and Trichoderma harshanum and Bacillus species, which are applied by drenching or broadcast. And lastly, positive and negative selection can also contribute towards the control of the disease. Positive selection is done by staking of healthy plants where seeds are collected at harvest, or negative selection by staking infected plants where tubers should not be kept for seeds. The second most important disease is potato cyst nematode caused by Globodera lostotiensis. Some reports say that it was introduced in the highlands by importation. Other reports reported that it is indigenous in the soil. To identify cyst, an adult female cyst, usually found in the root hairs, is golden yellow to brown in color. One cyst usually contains 250 to 400 hyaline or spherical eggs. If there are 20 cysts per grams of soil, it will cause about 80 to 100% yield loss. And potato cyst nematode is difficult to eradicate once the area is infected, as it spreads through irrigation water, farm tools, and soil adhering to tubers. Local quarantine actually exists in the province of Davao for potatoes from the municipality of Atok because of the presence of cyst nematode. Management includes the use of clean seeds, the use of resistant variety like Igorota and Solibao, the biological control agent or Picillomyces liliaceus, which was effective and used in the 1990s, but was found to be harmful to humans. The project, therefore, has continued to identify potential biocon agents that are presently being evaluated. And finally, is the use of effective nematicides. Late blight, or the disease caused by Phytophthora infestans, is the most important disease of potato, both in seed and rare potato, since it occurs wherever potatoes are grown. The limitation of the use of resistance is because of the presence of races. There are 24 races of Phytophthora infestans, and in CAR, a complex race has been determined to exist, and only the asexual type of the pathogen is found in the country, while the A2 mating type has not yet been detected. The management of late blight was given priority, especially for rare potato, because if the disease is not controlled before or during tuberization of the potato, this will result to a greater decrease in yield. Management of the disease is predominantly throughout the application of fungicide. The reportedly high use of fungicide in the area is attributed to the close interval between sprays, especially when conditions are favorable for infection. However, it is recommended that the alternate use of systemic and contact fungicides be practiced to prevent the occurrence of resistance of the pathogen to the chemical fungicides. The breeding and selection for resistant varieties against the disease in the highlands was initiated in the 1980s by the NPRCRTC and the International Potato Center. This resulted to the release of 7 insect-approved varieties, namely Montañosa and Dalisay in 1986, Igorota, Solibao, Kansa, Bengueta from 1990 to 2000. In the implementation of the cultural control or cultural management, the following are recommended: the sanitation or the proper disposal of infected plant or plant materials, proper healing up and good drainage, the appropriate irrigation method to use, either furrow irrigation instead of overhead, and the planting distance, where farmers practice the single row planting, where there is a wider distance between rows, making the microenvironment less favorable for blight infection. The halming or foliage cutting, so that the spores from the infected leaves will not fall to the soil and infect the tubers underneath. The fourth is an emerging disease in the Philippines, which is the powdery scab. It's caused by Spongospora subterranea. Infected tubers initially exhibit scab lesions that appear like raised pimples, becoming brown with burst-like appearance, which causes the rejection of tubers for the fresh, the processing, or the seed markets. Infected potato roots and stolons form also small galls. The initiatives in management include the use of resistant variety Bengueta, the incorporation of dolomitic lime, particularly calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate in the soil, which improves the soil structure and drainage, thereby reducing disease incidence, and the use of effective fungicides. In the management of insect pests, aphids, whiteflies are important because they can transmit viruses like PBY, PBX, and PLRB. Attention was also given to the occurrence of leaf miner because of the outbreak that was experienced in the year 2000. Hence, the population of these insects are continuously being monitored throughout the growing seasons. As to management, the recommendations include the use of clean planting materials, the use of yellow sticky traps, especially for aphids and leaf miner, the use of or the planting of igorota and sulibao, which are seen as resistant varieties to the insect pest, as it has the capacity or they have the capacity to regenerate infested leaves, and the use of effective insecticides. In summary, our recommendations for the integrated crop management for potato pests anchors heavily on the use of clean and quality planting materials, the use of resistant and tolerant varieties, complemented with the use of soil amendments, biological control, cultural management, and chemical control. Because resistant varieties play a major role in the formulation of effective integrated crop management, continuous field trials involving varieties and advanced clones are being conducted by the project. In the dissemination of technologies generated by the program, extension modalities like experiential, hands-on, or practical trainings for farmers and other beneficiaries, a techno demos, internship with students is being done. Other services offered include the pest clinic and the regeneration of planting materials, especially of our farmers' varieties. The Potato R&D Center also has IEC materials that are available for interested clientele or stakeholders. Our future plans for the Potato R&D Center includes the nicer Potato R&D Phase 2, which will include the techno transfer on the IPM package, the techno transfer of production of certified seed tubers, the molecular indexing of quarantine pests, recommendations of potential clones for variety release with resistance to important pests, piloting and commercialization of potential clones, and the increase in the number of accredited seed potato farmers. We are also looking forward to the re-engagement of the collaboration of the Benguet State University and the International Potato Center, especially in the suitability and adaptability trials of germplasm materials. We're also looking forward to the collaboration with other SUCs, especially in the promotion of potato production in the mid and lowlands. And finally, we're looking forward to the conduct of the stakeholders meeting, where all sectors involved in the potato industry will be invited. Through this activity, it is hoped that the Potato Network and the Potato Board, which have been formed and operating in the 1980s and the early 2000s, will once again be activated. For more information or queries, you can contact us at our email address, tnprcrtc@bsu.edu.com.ph, our telefax number 6372-422-2439. Finally, we would like to acknowledge the Benguet State University administration for the support given to the team in the implementation of the projects, the Department of Science and Technology National for funding the program, the Department of Science and Technology CAR for endorsing the program to the Regional Development Council of CAR and PCAARRD, the DOST PCAARRD for the extensive monitoring of the projects that led to the fulfillment of the project's deliverables, the LGU and potato seed farmers of Benguet and Mountain Province for continuously being active partners in pushing forward the technologies generated by the projects to boost the local potato industry. Finally, We would like to thank all those who have attended our webinar on the enhanced production and management for potato. Thank you from the Potato R&D program team and staff. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Josie, for that informative presentation. Now we know how to manage pests and diseases of potato like bacterial wilt, cyst, nematode, whitefly, leaf miner, at iba pa. At nalaman din natin na importante din ang pagtataniman ng patatas para maiwasan ang mga ito. And with that said, I hope na handa na ang inyong mga katanungan dahil magkakaroon tayo ng open forum kung saan sila mismo ang sasagot sa inyong mga katanungan at komento sa ating comment section. Paalala lamang sa mga magbibigay ng kanilang mga katanungan, please mention your name, affiliation, and or location together with your questions. At para buksan ang ating open forum, tawagin natin muli si Ma'am Cynthia at Ma'am Josie.
Hello po.
Ayan, welcome back,
Hello.
Ma'am
Hello
Cynthia
po.
and Ma'am Josie.
Yes
So
po.
ma'am, mukhang marami na tayong mga katanungan sa comment section. Handa na po ba kayo na sumagot? First, Ma'am Cynthia, handa na ba kayo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ma'am Josie, handa na po ba kayo na
Yes po.
sumagot? Okay.
Opo.
So kung
Opo.
handa na po kayong sumagot sa mga katanungan natin, let's proceed with our first question. Okay, ang first question po natin ay from Ma'am Gina Magsaysay from Nueva Ecija. So, ano daw po ang mga variety na akma sa mga mababa at matataas na lugar?
Yeah. Okay, sa lowlands po, fortunately po, we were working with lowland potato din. So, ang mga akma sa lowlands, meron po tayong variety na ranyag that was released by MMSU. I don't know I forgot the year. But fortunately, the highlands is multiplying the seeds of ranyag. So this can be for the lowlands. And then our variety Solibaw is one variety also that can be grown in the lowlands. Yeah.
Okay. Ayan. Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering that question. Kasi parang curious din yung mga viewers natin kung ano-ano nga ba yung mga varieties na pwede nilang gamitin. Okay, on to our next question from Mr. Ruel Santos from Tarlac. Ano po ang benepisyo ng paggamit ng clean seeds? Paano po ito makakaapekto sa mga potato farmers?
Okay. Thank you for that question. Unang-una, ang clean seeds ay masasabi na walang peste. Well, it is a disease-free planting materials. Kaya kung disease-free planting materials siya, may tendency na resistant siya sa sakit or tolerant sa mga peste ng patatas. Kaya kung wala siyang peste, siyempre titaas ang kita at tataas ang ani. Gaya yung mga pinakita ko kanina na the comparison between the farmer seeds and the clean seeds, and it really makikita mo doon na talagang tumaas ang ani from, for example, yung 15 tons per hectare to 25 tons per hectare. At saka isa pa, ang benepisyo dito sa clean planting materials ay maiiwasan mo ang pagdami o pagkaroon ng mga peste doon sa lupa mo kung palaging clean planting materials ang gagamitin mo. Kasi sa paggamit din ng clean planting materials, it gradually cleans also your farm. Kasi palaging clean planting material ang gagamitin. Thank you.
Ayun. Thank you, Ma'am Cynthia, for answering that question. Okay, so ang next question naman natin ay mula kay Ms. Bel Surara. So ang question niya po, in hydroponics, gaano katagal tumubo ang potato compared sa traditional planting?
Okay, that's an interesting question. You know, in the traditional planting, usually ang patatas ay magmamature siya ng 3 months. Yun. Ang iba naman is 4 months, depende sa variety. Pero pag aeroponic naman ang gagamitin mo or mga hydroponics, mag-e-extend ang maturity. Pero ang harvesting ay mas maaga. For example, sa aeroponics, you can maintain yung tanim mo up to 6 months. Pero ang pag-harvest ay mapaaga siya. At 1.5 months, pwede ka nang mag-harvest ng seed tubers. Kasi itong mga hydroponics, yung drip irrigation at saka aeroponics, ginagamit lang naman ito sa production ng clean planting materials. So ganun, it takes about, you can maintain it up to 6 months. At 6 months ka or 5 months doon ka magha-harvest ng mga seed tubers sa hydroponics. But yung pag-harvest mo kasi is yung sequential harvesting, yung ganon. Thank you.
Yun, thank you, Ma'am Cynthia. And another follow-up question from Ma'am Bell, no? Ano-ano po ang mga kailangang materials kapag hydroponics ang gagamitin?
Ay, oo. Kung hydroponics naman din ang gagamitin, may mga ang gagamitin ay yung mga dapat may timer system ka. Yun ang isa, at saka may pump system, at saka yung yung dripper, yung mga misters, ganun. At least may mga marami po. So ang importante din sa hydroponics at yung sinabi ko yung sa lecture kanina na kailangan ang ano na yun, yung pag mag-brown out,
Generator.
Oo, yung generator. Yun din ang isang kailangan. At sa pag-tools naman, ang very important na tools pag gumagawa ka ng gumagamit ka ng hydroponics is that you must have an EC meter at saka pH meter. Yun.
Ayun.
Kung gusto niyo yung mga yung in-depth na list ng kung ano yung kailangan sa hydroponics, we can forward to you kasi marami naman yun eh.
Opo.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ma'am. Another question po about the hydroponics. Dito naman for the aeroponics setup now from Ma'am May and Joy. The aeroponics setup also requires low temperature environment. How much is the setup cost, and can the agency help in terms of technical assistance? Yun po.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Sa setup namin dito sa aeroponic, which was granted by the Department of Science and Technology, it costs about 1 million. Pero yun na nga, mahal. Pero in our rough estimate, you can get your the return back of your expenses can be it will take about 3 years or less, depende naman sa ani mo. Kasi in traditional cultivation, you can get only 3 to 5 tubers per plant. But in aeroponics or in drip irrigation, you can get more than this. In other countries pa nga, they can get 60 to 100 seed tubers per plant. But so far in our experience pa dito, we can get as much as 32. Pero pinipilit namin na itataas pa yung ani namin doon sa experiment namin sa aeroponics at saka drip irrigation. Ayan.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ma'am Anjoy, for your question and Ma'am Cynthia for answering. Ano? Next question po is from Sir Ian Naduma. Hindi po ba prone sa rotting ang tubers po if hydroponics?
Oo, sige. Sa drip irrigation, walang problema yon. Kahit siguro ma-delay ka doon sa harvesting mo sa tubers. Pero sa aeroponics kasi, kaya hindi siya magrarat kasi pag about pag may malaki na tubers na about 10 grams, iha-harvest mo na yon. So, parang tuloy-tuloy ang harvest mo, pwedeng weekly, basta may 10 grams na seed tubers. Kaya hindi siya magtagal doon sa loob ng aeroponic seed chamber. Yon, kaya hindi siya magrarat.
Okay. Thank you po, Ma'am Cynthia. And for our next question from Ma'am Rita Castro from Laguna. Saan at paano kami makakabili ng seeds ng mga resistant varieties?
Ang basic po at saka foundation seed of yung varieties namin na Igorota, Solibaw, Bengueta, ito ay being produced dito po sa NPRC-RTC sa Benguet State University. However, meron po kaming mga farmer partners who produces these materials who are accredited seed growers. However, kung ang gusto niyo ay clean planting material for table potato production at gagamitin itong mga varieties, yung mga interested individuals could source their seeds from our farmer partners and cooperatives. Or you can get information or you can contact the NPRC-RTC through our email address na nprcrtc@bsu.edu.ph or you can call us at 422-2439. Kami po ang how will you turn that? Magko-connect sa inyo sa mga seed farmers na pwedeng makatinda ng tubers for you.
Ayan. Thank you so much po, Ma'am Rita Castro. For our next question po, we have Sir Joselito Di Maano from Ilocos. Anong kagamitan po ang kailangan namin upang makapagsimula ng tissue culture laboratory?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Sir Joselito, for that interesting question. Kasi nasisiyahan din kami na may mga farmers din na interesado na mag-tissue culture. Kasi sa Vietnam, ang mga farmers ang nagpo-produce na ng mga plant tissue culture nila sa patatas, sa totoo lang. Pero sa atin, mga government agencies. Now, the most important basic facilities to start a tissue culture is that you must have an autoclave, ito yung stove, microscope, electric balance, pH meter, refrigerator, laminar airflow bench, or different glasswares and tools. Yun ang pinaka-basic to start a tissue culture. And kung mag-start kayo, pwede naman ninyong bisitahin ang aming facilities dito para i-guide namin kayo kung paano kayo mag-start ng tissue culture. At kung talagang mag-start kayo, we can also give you a free tissue culture plans for you to start with. Thank you.
Ayun. Well, thank you so much, Ma'am Cynthia, for assisting, no, and giving that information sa mga farmers natin na interested in tissue culture. So, for our next question po, from Mr. Krishibid. So, does calcium hypochlorite will of potato sprouting if we apply before 7 days because the gas remains for a longer time? I think his question po is nakaka-apekto daw po ba sa potato sprouting if i-apply before 7 days because the gas remains for a longer time. So, nakaka-apekto po ba daw ang calcium hypochlorite?
Oo. Sa calcium hypochlorite, We recommended it. We recommend it at a rate of only 12 kilograms per hectare. So very minimal po yung application. And then we saw that, or we found that if we apply it 7 days before planting, hindi po ito makaka-apekto sa sprout ng tuber. If we are going to plant immediately after application, yun din po nakaka-experience ng burning doon sa potato tubers if they are not applied time before planting. Usually, ang recommendation po namin ay 7 days before planting po.
Okay, ayun. I hope we answered that, Mr. Krishibid. And for our next question po, from Siyensya na Teknopa. So would this program improve the production of potato farmers? Would it be possible to dream that we can export our potatoes in the offing after this program? So, ayun. From Radyo Aquila po siya.
Thank you po sa question. Actually, we have the same dream. We're also dreaming of exporting potato abroad. So that's the reason why ang Root Crop Center ay nagpa-accredit to become a accredited seed grower kasi you cannot export potatoes kung hindi ka accredited na seed grower. So it is also our dream. That's why we're very excited that we have been accredited as a potato seed producer. We are hoping that with the technologies that we generated, we can clean up all our areas that are infected. We can increase our production for seeds. We're looking forward to exporting our seeds in the future. Kasi ang isang advantage natin is we have the variety Igorota, which has been bred in the Philippines and released in the Philippines. So meron tayong variety that we can share with other potato growing areas in the whole world.
Okay, wow.
Thank you po.
Okay, so thank you so
Tama
much,
po yun.
Ma'am Josie, for sharing with us that you have the same dream din po, no, para sa mga potato farmers natin. And for our next question po, we have Sir Fred Galbizo Bentain. So, good PM, ma'am. Ask ko sana, maghingi ng ratio sa soil media from laboratory meristem to soil media po sa mother plant nursery. Yun po. From
Okay,
Fred Galbizo of DARFO 11.
Yes. So far, ang ginagamit namin dito sa center, ang soil media namin is yung rice hull ash at saka garden soil. So, ang ratio nun is 3:1. 3 parts na carbonated rice hull ash and then soil. Pero yung soil, yung sterilized yun talagang free from diseases. Kaya ang ginagawa namin, we are sterilizing through steam sterilization. And then after that, tinitest pa rin namin yun sa laboratory. Kung minsan, kung madami ang aming gagamitin na soil, kasi marami kaming buntok dito kung may erosion, yun, kinukuhanan namin yung mga soil doon sa yung mga eroded na soil. Tapos magte-test kami doon kung alin doon ang walang piste. Kasi by laboratory kami naman na pagte-test doon at doon namin kukunin yung soil na free from pests and then yun tapos hahaluhan ng rice hull ash. Yun ang pinakamura na media naman na for this plant tissue culture kung ita-transplant mo doon sa greenhouse.
Okay, ayan. We hope na na-answer po namin yan, Sir Fred, yung question mo. So, next question po from Sir Reginald Nescio, reduced po ba ng risks of disease and pests sa hydroponic system?
Reduce po ba? Yes, yes. Kasi sa hydroponics kasi hindi ka kasi gagamit doon ng ng soil. At alam mo naman ang soil yung talaga ang dahilan kung bakit tayo natin ipinopromote ang clean planting materials kasi most of our soils now are infected with infected with pests. So sa hydroponics pa kasi strict sanitation kasi yon kaya bihira talaga na magka-disease ang mga tanim mo.
Ayun, okay. Thank you, Ma'am Cynthia, for that. Next question po. From Ma'am Lynn B. Resurrection. So, are there non-chemical solutions found for the ICM? How about biotech? Thank you po.
Thank you, Lynn, sa question. Yung mga non-chemical solutions ngayon, actually, yung mga nire-recommend namin na biocon, crop rotation, sanitation, and yung organic fertilizer amendments, yun yung mga non-chemical solutions namin sa ICM. But kasi we're into the formal seed system, na kung titignan mo sa standards for seed potato, talagang zero ang allowable percentage infection. So sa seed potato siguro we could not do away with chemical so that we can have clean areas where we can multiply our basic or foundation seeds. Pero sa biotech part po, ang biotech po ba yung paggamit ng mga GMO or yung resistant, yung genetically modified microorganism? Actually, we had been partners with the International Potato Center for a long time, since the NPR-CRTC was created in 1977. But meron din time na gustong magpa-test ng International Potato Center ng mga biotech or GMO potato. But hindi po kami masyadong privy doon sa paggagamit ng GMO. One reason is yung mga available na materials ay hindi po against the insect pests and diseases that we have in the country. So, meron mga GMO, but hindi po akma sa ating mga conditions. And then, ang pinagagamitan po lang namin ng molecular is doon sa facilitation po ng aming pag-test for quarantine diseases for our sweet potato. Thank you po.
Ayan. Thank you, Ma'am Josie, for that answer. And we hope na answer din po namin yung tanong nyo, Ma'am Lynn. Okay, for our next question po, we have Sir John Gilbert Galigo. In using hydroponics or aeroponics, is the quality and size of the potato the same in traditional planting?
The quality and size. Sa traditional method of producing quality planting materials, yes, because both are doing strict sanitation and you are using disease-free planting materials. Pero sa traditional planting doon sa mga farmers, of course, it differs much. Yung mga planting materials na nanggaling sa mga farmers kung sa quality. Pero sa size naman, kung quality planting materials ang ginagamit mo, it doesn't matter kung ano ang size. Kasi sa amin, we try pa nga yung pea size eh. kung quality planting material talaga yan na kahit precise yan, mataas talaga din ang ani mo. Kaya in our aeroponics, although in our aeroponics in our drip irrigation, we are limiting our parang ang minimum na size na hina-harvest namin is yung yung marble size. Pero sa pag nagtanim ka doon na for table potato production or for ware potato production, ang talagang ginagamit doon naman ay yung small size tubers. Thank you.
Okay. So, next question po. We have Ma'am Joanne Miranda from Batangas. Kailangan po ba ang seed certification sa seed potato production?
Ayan. If you are aiming for a wider market, then you have to go on seed certification. Kasi sa seed certification kasi guaranteed talaga yung mga planting materials mo. Kasi ang mga farmers, kung alam nila na yan, na certified seeds yan, kahit hindi mo iyan kahit hindi mo i-advertise yan, word to mouth yan, mabibili talaga ang planting material mo. Yun ang kabutihan ang seed certification. At saka isa pa, talagang ito ang pinopromote ng gobyerno, ang seed certification, para naman makausad ang potato industry natin. Yun. So, sa seed certification, guaranteed ang planting materials mo.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ayun. Thank you po, Ma'am Cynthia. And this will be our last question na po from Miss Gina Reyes from Davao. So, ang tanong po niya, are there trainings and seminars offered for enhanced micropropagation and hydroponics production?
Yes. The center or the project is offering a comprehensive hands-on training and seminar on the production of quality planting materials on potato. And matagal na namin ginagawa ito. And this includes micropropagation, or plant tissue culture, rapid multiplication technique in the greenhouse, which now includes also the hydroponics technique of propagation, and good management practices of maintenance, of maintaining planting materials in the field, and also good storage practices of seed tubers. Yun po ang laman ng comprehensive training namin sa quality planting materials on seed potatoes. Thank you.
Ayun. Thank you so much, Ma'am Cynthia, and thank you din, Ma'am Gina, for your question. At dito po nagtatapos ang ating open forum. Muli nais kong magpasalamat sa lahat ng nagbigay ng kanilang mga katanungan dahil lalo pa nitong pinalalim yung discussion natin from the presentations na pinanood natin kanina. And to show our appreciation to our experts, Ma'am Cynthia and Ma'am Jocelyn, the Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic and Natural Resources Research and Development of the Department of Science and Technology would like to present this certificate of appreciation first to Director Cynthia G. Kiswa and to Professor Jocelyn C. Perez for serving as the resource person for the webinar titled Enhanced Production and Management Practices for Potato, held on August 11, 2022 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. via Facebook Live, signed by the Executive Director of DOST PCAARRD, Dr. Reynaldo V. Ebora. Ayan. Thank you so much po, Ma'am Cynthia and Ma'am Josie.
Thank you.
And before
Thank
you leave po, Ma'am, mayroon po ba kayong gustong sabihin sa ating mga manonood, lalo na po sa ating mga potato farmers? First with Ma'am Cynthia.
Okay, as we end our webinar or online seminar on the quality seed production, I hope you have learned some practices, good practices that you can pass it on or you can apply it in your farm. Kasi ang quality planting materials matters much talaga. It is a component of controlling pests naturally. And it is also an integral part of food safety, safe environment that contributes to global food security. And then, in addition pala, kung yung mga interesado na mag-training sa quality planting materials ng potatoes, pwede ka naman kayong mag-schedule or mag-request sa amin. Kung minsan nga may call kami ng trainings eh. Pero if you really, and then at isa pa, we also entertain walk-in visitors to visit our facilities on quality seed potato production. Thank you.
Ayun. Thank you so much, Ma'am Cynthia. Ma'am Josie, any message po para sa
Yeah.
ating viewers?
First of all, we would like to thank the OST PCAARRD for yung opportunity na binigay sa amin to share our technologies para ma-enhance ang potato production, to increase productivity, and we hope to increase income. Sa mga potato farmers natin, sana po marami kayong natutunan o nalaman na bagong impormasyon o teknolohiya. At kung meron po kayong kailangan na technical assistance or mga katanungan, you can contact us at our, i-emphasize ko uli yung email address namin, nprcrtc@psu.edu.com.ph. Ang aming telephone number na 422-2439. You can visit us also at the NPRCRTC, Benguet State University, La Trinidad, Benguet. Thank you po.
Ayun, thank you so much, Ma'am Cynthia, Ma'am Josie. Truly, we appreciate talaga yung pag-share nyo sa amin ng information regarding enhanced production ng potato. Thank you po. Bye po, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you po. Thank you.
Thank you sa mga interesado.
Bye-bye.
Salamat po. And should you have
Thank you.
any questions or concerns that you want to further discuss about this topic, you may reach the Crops Research Division of DOST-PCAARRD through our email at crd@picard.dost.gov.ph. And since we learned a lot this afternoon, it's important for us to have a quick refresher on the important points that Ma'am Cynthia and Ma'am Josie shared with us today. So to give us the synthesis, I would like to call on the DOST-PCAARRD Industry Strategic S&T Program Manager for Vegetables, Mr. Joel Norman R. Panganiban. Sir JN?
Thank you, Dan. So hello, everyone. And we just heard interesting talks or topics on the enhanced micropropagation and the integrated crop management for potatoes. Now, let me give you the summary of the topics discussed by our potato experts from the Benguet State University. The first topic, delivered by Director Cynthia Kiswa, are the highlights of accomplishments of the component project on micropropagation under the NICER Potato R&D Center program. She mentioned in her presentation that the potato is the third most profitable farming industry and highlighted that Cordillera Administrative Region is the highest potato producing region in the country. It is usually processed into flour, chips, fries, feeds, and wine, which are popular potato-based products among Filipinos. Ms. Cynthia also shared with us the major problem affecting potato production. To address the said problem, she shared with us the principles on micropropagation and microtuberization. Micropropagation is an efficient propagation technique to produce disease-free and true-to-type planting materials, while she highlighted in her presentation that microtuberization is the production of microtubers from the tissue-cultured potato plants that can be directly planted onto the field. Further, she also shared with us the Agricultural Production Act of 2010, or House Bill number 1812, that supports the use of aeroponics to increase productivity of selected crops, which will lead to the increase in food security. Director Cynthia also mentioned the two forms of hydroponics, namely aeroponics and drip irrigation technologies. She highlighted that these are efficient technologies that can increase seed production by at least 280% and potato productivity by at least 60% or from 15 tons per hectare up to 2 to 42 tons per hectare. On the other hand, the integrated crop management for potato, which was presented by Professor Jocelyn Perez, she highlighted that 16% of the total cost of production for potato goes to the expenses for pesticides. She also mentioned that potato is susceptible to at least 75 diseases and non-parasitic disorders and 150 insect pests, depending on the region or location. She also shared with us the management and control of some of the quarantine important diseases, namely potato late blight, potato bacterial wilt, and potato powdery scab, and an invertebrate pest such as the potato cyst nematode. With this, Professor Jocelyn underscored the importance of pest and disease-free seed production areas for the sustainable production of clean seed potatoes to meet its demand. Through the Integrated Crop Management or ICM for potatoes, which is a combination of effective control strategies, the problems brought by potato pests and diseases will be addressed to increase farmers' return of investment by at least 56%, which translates to an increase in farmers' income from 66,000 pesos up to 168,000 pesos. During our question and answer, a question was asked on where can they buy potato seeds and or resistant or tolerant varieties. So our resource speakers answered that these materials can be availed in the Northern Philippine Root Crops Research and Training Center, or they can link our farmers or interested buyers to the certified seed producers. May isa pang katanungan, madami pa tayong katanungan. Ang ilan sa mga ito ay ano-ano bang mga variety o varieties ang akma sa mababa at mataas na lugar sa Pilipinas, at sinagot po nila na ang posibleng maitanim sa mga lowland ay ang Ranyag at Solibaw variety. Samantala sa highlands naman ay pwedeng ang Fina, Bengueta at Igorota ang ilan sa mga varieties na pwede nating itanim sa matataas na lugar. Isa pang magandang tanong during our Q&A ay ano ang benepisyo ng paggamit ng clean seeds at paano ito makaaapekto sa mga potato farmers. Sinagot po ito ng isa sa ating mga potato experts, si Ma'am Cynthia. Ang sabi niya ay posible na itong mga napoproduce nila ng mga patatas ay tolerant sa mga peste, at dahil dito tataas ang kita at ani ng mga magsasakang gagamit nito. At isa pang katanungan ay gaano ba katagal ang tradisyonal na ang pag-produce ng mga patatas gamit ang tradisyonal na pamamaraan, at ano ang pinagkaiba nito sa aeroponics o hydroponics? Ang sagot po ni Ma'am Cynthia ay ang maturity ay nakadepende sa variety, samantalang sa paggamit ng hydroponics o aeroponics, sa haba ng 6 na buwan na produksyon, as early as 1.5 buwan ay makakapag-ani na kayo ng mga clean potato seeds. Isa pang katanungan ay meron bang non-chemical na solusyon sa ICM, at sinagot po ito ng ating isa sa ng ating potato expert na si Ma'am Josie. Ang sinabi niya ay ang mga non-chemical solutions ay ang use o paggamit ng biocontrol o beneficial microorganisms, crop rotation and sanitation. Sanitation kasi maaaring ang mga weeds ay maging possible source ng peste at diseases at mga sakit. Sa biotech naman, we are not yet into GMO because in their collaboration with CIT, the potatoes produced through biotechnology are not yet appropriate in our country. And lastly, for seed certification concern, our experts are encouraging our farmers to have their farms certified, as this is one of the initiatives of the government. And that's it for the synthesis. Back to you, Dan.
Ayon. Thank you so much, Sir Jay, and for summarizing everything that was discussed this afternoon. Now, to formally close the program, here to give us a message is the officer in charge of the DOST PCAARRD Crops Research Division, Dr. Alan B. Ciano. Dr. Alan?
A pleasant afternoon to everyone. On behalf of the OSCP Card, I would like to thank you for joining us in this afternoon's webinar on enhanced production and management practices for potato. It is our pleasure to share with you these new advancements in the crop sector, and we hope that this activity has furthered your interest in the production and management of potato. Potato is a major vegetable crop loved by many Filipinos and is cultivated around the world for its high nutritional value and variety of uses. However, the increase in pest and disease incidences and lack of clean planting materials continue to affect the country's overall potato production, especially with prevalent soil-borne diseases like bacterial wilt and cyst nematode. Today's webinar equipped everyone with new strategies to address these challenges through science and technology interventions. With this, I would like to express my gratitude to our research speakers, Director Cynthia G. Kiswa and Professor Jocelyn C. Perez from the Potato Research and Development Center of the Benguet State University for sharing with us their knowledge and expertise in managing major potato insect pests and diseases and producing clean planting materials through enhanced micropropagation systems. Truly, what you have shared with us today will be beneficial to our farmers to increase their harvest and its quality and ensure a sustainable supply of clean planting materials. I would also like to commend the efforts of the entire team of the Potato R&D Center, whose hard work and dedication have been instrumental in achieving the targets of the program and made this webinar possible. Thank you as well for providing your full assistance to our team during the preparations of this activity. Aside from the two projects we highlighted today, the Potato R&D Center also focuses on the application of improved cultivation system and the storage techniques for seed potato production. The said project aims to apply aeroponics and storage techniques in the production of foundation seed potatoes. I am happy to say that these ongoing initiatives of the center gained remarkable results in enhancing and sustaining the production of quality seed potatoes. Ultimately, it is our goal to create better opportunities for our local potato farmers by increasing their incomes and improving their livelihood, not only in the Cordillera region, but in the whole country. Moving forward, we will continue to explore how we can further support the industry through research and development and widen its impact in the industry. Once again, thank you for attending this webinar, and I hope that you will continue to support the future activities of DOST PCAARRD. I hope that this activity will serve as a motivation for everyone to share and utilize these new learnings in your respective communities in hopes of boosting the potato industry in the Philippines. Magandang hapon po at maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat din, Dr. Alan, for your message. At maraming salamat din sa ating mga live viewers na sumamang matuto sa hapong ito. Sabi nga ni Dr. Alan, sana ay maibahagi at magamit nyo rin ang mga natutunan nyo sa inyong mga komunidad. Inaasahan namin kayong makita muli sa mga susunod na virtual events ng DOST PCAARRD dahil marami pang kaabang-abang na mga paksa ang nais naming ibahagi sa inyo. Abangan din natin this coming Sunday ang radio interview ni Professor Jocelyn Perez sa Radyo Agila Net 25, Siyensya na, Tekno pa. It's also about enhanced production and management practices for potato. Again, that's on Sunday, August 14, 10 to 11 a.m. At para sa mga nais makakuha ng kanilang e-certificate, maaari niyong sagutan ng aming Customer Satisfaction Feedback Form na matatagpuan sa link na nakalagay sa screen at sa aming comment section. Piliin ang Enhanced Production and Management Practices for Potato sa ilalim ng activity title, sagutan ang form at ipapadala namin sa inyo ang inyong e-certificate sa loob ng 1 linggo. Muli, ako po si Danica Sembrano mula sa DOST PCAARRD. Ating tandaan na ang siyensya ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga siyentista. Ito rin ay para sa ating mga magsasaka.